I'm in the mood for love. Why stop to think of whether this little dream might fail? We put our hearts together. Now we are one. I'm not afraid if there's a cloud above. If it should rain, we'll let it. But for tonight, forget it. I'm in the mood for love.
Oh, you sure are a lucky guy to have a girlfriend like Babs.
Yep, lucky guy.
Yes?
Coach Wheeler is here to see you, sir.
Coach Wheeler, yes, send him right in.
Yes, sir.
Jarring Jack Jackson. Put it there.
Coach Wheeler, you old son of a gun, glad to see you. What's the beef?
No beef. I've got good news. Ridgeville's got a chance for the championship this year.
On the level?
Yep. Here's the layout. There's a great athlete in this town, Bill Baker. Just graduated from Washington High School. His old man's a bookkeeper someplace. Underpaid, hasn't got a cent, works for some rich, miserable guy, so this kid doesn't have the money to go to college. It's the old story, Jack.
Coach, I know this kid, Baker. His father works for me. He's my bookkeeper.
Well, Jack, I didn't mean...
That's all right, Coach. Forget about it. What do you want me to do?
Finance this kid through school.
All right. I'll do it on one condition. When my son comes to Ridgeville, you've got to see that he makes the team and gets his letter.
Well, Jack, be reasonable. Your kid's never played football. Besides, he's too light.
So what? Could be another Sammy Baugh, a great passer, or Albie Booth, a great kicker.
Well, it's possible, but...
No buts to it, Coach. I want my kid to earn his letter at Ridgeville more than anything in life. It's a package deal, Coach. If you want to take Bill Baker, you'll have to take my son. Yes or no?
Well, I need this Baker boy like I need my right arm. I need your son, Junior, like I need it. Okay, it's a deal. So long.
So long, Coach.
My son's here. Can you see him now, Mr. Jackson?
Yes, send him right in.
Mr. Jackson?
Hi, Bill. Sit down. What's on your mind?
Well, I was talking with my dad, and he suggested I come on over here and ask you for a job in your plant.
Well, aren't you planning to go to college?
Well, I always wanted to, but frankly, we don't have the money.
What would you do if someone offered you a chance to go to Ridgeville, all expenses paid?
I'd faint.
Well, don't faint, because I'm going to make you that offer.
But why?
Well, Bill, you know my son, Junior?
Well, I spent a few hours with him last night, but I don't know him too well.
That's the point. Well, I want you to know him better, Bill. You see, he's a great kid, but he didn't turn out the way I wanted him to. I want him to be more like you.
Well, maybe it's just a different type.
You're so right. That's why I thought that maybe if the two of you were roommates at Ridgeville, that you could sort of look after him. Maybe you could inspire him to be an athlete like yourself. You know, the strong looking after the weak.
But what does he say about all this?
Doesn't know anything about it. And he must never know. Well, what do you say? Is it a deal?
It's a deal, Mr. Jackson. But you know, with Junior, it's not going to be too easy. I only hope I have enough time left to play football.
You're getting closer to Ridgeville, son. Yes? Oh, hello, dear. Feeling fine, yes. Delighted to have him for dinner, certainly. Good old Ben Green, my old classmate, Phi Beta Kappa, smart as a whip. Yes, I'll be home early for dinner. All right, dear. All right. Let me get this straight, Ben. Aren't you a doctor?
I'm a psychiatrist.
What do you mean, dealing with crazy people?
Oh, no, Dad. A psychiatrist is a man who helps people adjust to their environment and overcome inhibitions.
Huh?
Very good, son. That, in essence, is what we do. You'd be surprised how many people need help and don't know it.
Well, I think it's all the bunk.
Jack, please.
Well, that's all right. Jack hasn't offended me. A lot of people share his viewpoint. They don't know they need help. I was on a very interesting case in Chicago about a month ago. Typical case of a dominating father trying to run his son's life. Result, typical son. Shy, introverted, psychosomatic symptoms, flash of personalities, tragedy.
What happened?
Well, in this case, the father committed suicide. He jumped out of a second-story window.
That's very interesting, Dr. Green. Do you know of any similar cases?
Well, there was another case of a father and son.
Yes, well, I don't approve of this kind of conversation in front of children. Junior, why don't you go upstairs now and get a good night's rest? Kiss your mother good night.
But, Dad...
You heard what I said, son. Kiss your mother good night, shake hands with Dr. Green here, and upstairs you go. Right, son?
Good night, Mother.
Good night, son.
Good night, Dad. Good night, sir.
Good night. Good night.
Would you know where I could get any books on this subject, Dr. Green?
Son.
Oh. Good night.
An only child?
Yes, he's our only child.
Hmm. Very interesting.
Well, if you'll excuse me, I have some things to do.
Jack, I don't want to get too personal, but I think you have a problem with your son. Let me help you. You know, a lot of people pay me fancy prices for this. You can get it free.
Thanks, Ben. There is a problem, and there shouldn't be, because no one could be a better father than I am to that boy. Ben, he's going to step right into a big business. It's all set up for him. I had it all planned for him to go to Ridgeville. I had it all arranged for him to have the best room in the fraternity house. I even had it fixed for him to get his letter. What do I get for it?
He resents it.
How did you know? Say, Ben, what is happening with this younger generation? They're ungrateful.
Jack, you don't understand. He's not the problem. You are.
Me? Why, there isn't a better father than I am, Ben. That boy's had the best.
Well, let's not get into all that. You've done nothing for that boy. You've done it all for yourself. You're selfish, Jack.
Selfish? I only want my son to be a leader.
Maybe he's not a leader.
Well, he's got to be.
Jack, you're trying to run your son's life, and it won't work. He's not like you. And if you keep it up, you're going to run into a much worse problem than whether or not he wants to go to Ridgeville. It can become much worse.
Well, what'll I do, Ben?
Well, why don't you go up and visit with Ann? Let me talk to Junior a few minutes. Maybe I can help.
Junior, will you come down here a minute?
I'm getting ready for bed.
Well, forget about it and come on down here. Son?
All right, Dad.
Now, remember, I want that boy to go to Ridgeville. Dr. Green here would like to have a little talk with you.
You wanted to see me, sir?
Yes, Junior. Just like to have a little chat with you.
Well, is it all right with...
Oh, yes. Let's go on in the den where we can be more comfortable.
Oh, if you don't mind, sir, could we talk someplace else? You see...
You don't have to explain. I understand. Would the patio be better?
I think so.
Fine. You don't like the den, Junior. Why?
Oh, it's a nice room. It's my father's favorite. But it's his room. You understand.
Very interesting. Of course. Anyway, it's a nice night, so let's just make ourselves comfortable and have a pleasant chat. Junior, I'd like to ask you a few questions. You don't mind, do you?
Oh, no, sir. I like talking to you, Dr. Green.
Good. Well, now that you've graduated from high school, what would you like to do?
Well, will it be confidential just between the two of us?
Confidential.
Well, sir, I'd like to go to Ridgeville, and I'd like to play football, but I never will.
Why not?
Because of my dad. Don't get me wrong, sir. I love him, and I respect him, and I'd like to do everything he did, but I never will, because I couldn't do it as good. I'm scared.
Well, how do you know you couldn't do it as good?
Well, no one is as good as my dad, sir. Just ask him. He does everything the best. That's why I do everything the worst. I got what you call complexes. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, sir, but I'm frustrated.
Have you ever told your dad what you would like to do?
Oh, no, sir. You can't tell him anything. He tells you.
Well, why don't you try to meet your dad halfway? Talk it out with him. Try and show him your side of it. You take the initiative. You know, older people are more set to their ways. I think you owe it to your dad and yourself to try to become better acquainted with him.
I'll try, Dr. Green.
Fine. You can go to bed now, Junior, if you like.
Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
Night.
Ben? What's wrong with him?
Nothing, Jack. He's a fine boy. I think someday you're going to be proud of him. I would suggest, however, that you try to see more of him alone. Get to know him better.
Oh, I'd like to, Ben, but it seems like every time we're together we fight. I think the boy resents me. It's unnatural.
On the contrary, Jack, it's the most natural thing in the world for children to resent their parents. It's based on the fact that from the time they're born, parents represent authority, interfere with their will. So the average normal child often resents his parents. Some children wish they had different parents. Some children even hate their parents.
What about Junior? You think he hates me?
Hates you? The only advice I can give is never take your boy hunting.
Who is it? Me. Just a minute, Dad. Come in, Dad.
Son, I think we ought to become better acquainted. Don't you?
I think so.
A father and a son ought to be, well, close, more like buddies. Don't you think so?
I think so.
Tomorrow's Sunday. Why don't we spend the whole day together? Just you and I. Alone. You know, like pals.
I'd like that, Dad.
Good. What would you like to do, son?
Anything you'd like to do, Dad.
Well, no, it's your day now. What would you like to do?
Anything you'd like to do, Dad.
Now, I'm asking you. What would you like to do, son?
Well, I have a splendid idea, Dad. Something I think we'll both enjoy.
Oh, what is it?
Would you take me hunting?
That's what you really want to do, son. Careful with that gun. It may be loaded.
No, it isn't, Dad. See?
Oh, you be careful with that thing. You know it's loaded.
I know it, Dad.
You know, an accident can happen. Would it be a terrible thing if you shot your own father?
Yeah.
What are you grinning about?
I'm so happy. I'm having such a good time, Dad.
I think we'll find some game over there now, son. Why don't you go in front of me? I want you to have the first shot.
No, Dad. You go in front of me.
No, son, now. You go in front of me. I'll cover your rear.
No, Dad. I'll be in back of you.